Hey guys, welcome to our Arrowverse Wednesday on Thursday, guys. How are you doing? Sorry for the delay. Again, StreamYard does what it does. I can't control it. All right. So, as usual, we have three shows to talk about. So, first, I'm going to do what I call housekeeping on the ATN. I have to do an interview with somebody at 4 p.m. my standard time, Central Standard Time. So that means this is going to be a shorter stream. So I can't stay around and answer lots of questions and talk about stuff because I just can't. I am also moving the What If episode. I'll let you know when. I think it might be on Saturday, which will be probably pre-recorded and will be before our Scarlet Witch versus Zatanna video, which will be a live stream. So if you have not seen that on the community tab, please click on that because it will be interesting. And I have lots to say about this because you guys, that poll, trying to figure out which ones Zatanna are basically Wanda would beat each other, or who would win in a fight against each other. I have some feelings. So Saturday's video is going to be very interesting. So we'll say that. And then also I am working on a very big project. I've been working on it for a while. I'm super excited about it. It's not even going to come out until next year, but eventually I will start sharing it with you guys a little bit, especially my comic lovers. I think you're really going to like what I'm doing. So throwing that out there. Okay. So Legends of Tomorrow. Supergirl and Stargirl. Let's start with Legends of Tomorrow. So where we left off last week, Bishop and Constantine basically have hijacked the Wave Rider. They were getting ready to hijack the Wave Rider, which they successfully do. And they head back to Fountain, Texas in 1925. And basically they're trying to find a way of getting John's powers back by, of course, finding the pool. That's what I call it, finding the pool. So I don't do a long, drawn-out recap because, again, this is a shorter stream. I'm just going to talk about the highlights of this episode. First of all, we finally got to say that Spooner actually is from 1925 and that she's not a Green Lantern. I was very in my feelings. I was like, man, this is a perfect opportunity for her to be Jessica Cruz. But her backstory, her mom being like this really cool healer and coming from this long line of healers and her owning land, back in the 1920s as a minority, and, raising her daughter on her own was very amazing. So we can see where Spooner gets her toughness from. And also knowing that her mother was not abducted by aliens. Her mother was murdered for her land. That was a big twist. I didn't think about that. I didn't think that was going to be like her backstory. That never crossed my mind as a theory. We're all like, oh, maybe the mother was like Jessica Cruz. Maybe she was taken by the lanterns and, they couldn't have the kid around. So they just dropped her off and blah, blah, blah. But no, we learned that is not what happened. The fountain itself, which is a big magic mushroom, make whatever jokes you need to make about that. Basically, when her mother got killed, she went and bled on the mushrooms and it zapped her up and basically saved her life, like literally took her, where she would be safe and infused her with its power. So Spooner's pretty powerful. And John basically figures this out when he meets the little version of her and like he concocts this plan. And, what I don't get about this part, I'll get to Rory in a minute because that's the other part of the episode that I wanted to talk about. So what I did not get about this episode is why the hell people keep trusting Bishop. I'm just putting it out there. It's like the man made a vial. I don't care if you've never seen a horror movie, you don't watch movies like Clue, whatever. When a person that you quote unquote do not touch starts mixing the chemicals in a vial, you don't inject yourself or ingest this chemical. That's literally common sense 101. You don't do it. You just don't do it. So the fact that John did it in this episode was really hard for me to suspend my disbelief because this is a paranoid individual. He's like, well, I'm just going to take this vial and, because Bishop wants to inject himself with it. So I'm going to wait. And then last minute when we're in the magic mushroom field, I'm going to, inject myself with it. Ha ha. And I will get all the powers for myself. I'm like, John, just think about this plan. think this through. It sounds stupid. I'm like, of course he poisoned the damn vial. The man has been like a million steps ahead of these people from like the moment he got on that ship. I do not understand why he did that, but I had to put that out there because that was, to me, I knew Constantine was leaving, but I just thought that was a really stupid way to write him out. I'm just going to put it out there. I can't help it. That was really dumb. Latino, I do see your comment that Constantine, he's the king of self-sabotage, and I agree with that. But I mean, it is a vial of stuff that you don't know all the ingredients of. You're just taking what it is at this man's face value. Of course, this man was going to kill you. And the reason that he did it, this is all part of Bishop's intricate plan to get rid of the fountain, because the fountain protects Earth from alien invaders. So like basically not only did this stuff poison Constantine by proxy, because Constantine was connected to the pool or the fountain at the time, it killed the fountain. And it did something to Spooner because it was basically while her, past self was going into the magic mushroom. I'm going to call it that. That's what I call all mystical mushrooms. If you watch my Motherland Port Salem reviews, I'm really big on calling mushrooms mystical mama mushrooms and things like that. So mama mushroom like literally died with, our girl Esmeralda inside of it, or Esperanza inside of it. So Spooner passes out. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if it's just basically because her abilities are now gone because the pool is gone or the fountain is gone. I don't know what that is. But yeah, that is all an FMS. And it looks like John might be gone for good. I mean, I hate the effects in these shows because they're so like you get like a level of cringe value in them. Like when I'm playing Animal Crossing and I see like the little plants and stuff move, it makes me itch. So everything that happened to Constantine in this made me itch, like the little thick vines like wrapping around him and him like shriveling up. That was just gross. So props to the special effects team, because guys, you did it. But yeah, so the magic mushroom farm is gone. Mama mushroom is gone. There's turmoil in the valley. At the same time, I will say another highlight for me, before we get to Rory, is I love that Spooner and Astra and her are like almost the same person. Now, people might start shipping them, which is fine. I'm queer, I get it. But I love their friendship because I love essentially they understand each other on a level that others can't because they primarily have gone through the same stuff. And I love that relationship. I think it is very well written. And I wish they had other relationships that are connected kind of like that, because they relate so much. They both lost their mothers. They both, have basically lived through hell. One was literally in hell, but they both lived through hell. There's like so much that they both have gone through that they can talk about. And it's like, it's not like a conversation you have with somebody when you're like, oh yeah, well, my father left. And they're like, oh yeah, my father's dead. You always have like this, it's not a competition, but you're kind of like, oh, I definitely need to feel sorry for you right now. They literally can be each other's, support system / yeah, that really sucks type person. So, I can relate. So I do like Astra and I do like Spooner's relationship. Just like when Spooner's like told Astra, take care of me. And she's like, always. I'm like, friendship. And Astra told little, Spooner, she's like, someday you're going to meet lots of friends and you're going to see me again. And I'm like, it's so 180 from how they actually began. And I love it. I effing love it. So loved it. So yeah, that was pretty cool. So let's talk about the wonderfulness that is Rory. So they're trying to desperately get back to the ship because the eggs are on the ship. And they're trying to come up with a plan. They don't know what they're going to do to get back to it. But of course they get online. They send this like message about, basically trying to attract Kayla by saying something's going on with the eggs. She shows up. I love the look she gets on her face whenever Rory talks to her. You can tell she is still very mad that they abandoned her on that planet. She was like, you left me. I didn't have a ship. I mean, this is bullshit, and I love that Rory was trying to tell her, I thought about you every day, like all the time. And she's like, no time for that. I love Kayla's attitude. But anyway, again, I'm not doing a full recap, but I did love all the interactions between Rory and Kayla. I love when, Kayla was very egg oriented. And I love how she said, and quote, she's like, I'm just here from my eggs. I'm like, and she even asked Rory how he was still alive. She was like, how'd you survive, like, childbirth? I'm like, wow. So Bishop did save Rory's life in a way. Now, the downside is when they finally got back to the ship, he basically became another bunghole. And by them, getting on the ship, it triggered, I guess, some kind of like trap that he had set. So they had like a certain amount of time to go in and save all of the eggs. And if they didn't, then the room was going to explode. And so they managed to get all of them, but one was on the floor. And Gary was like, oh, so Rory saw it and he ran to get it. And of course, explosion, he gets knocked back. Now we know that Rory's actor is also going to be doing little cameos, but he's not going to be full-time either. Right now, it looks like, he wave is fried. So I don't know if he's going to be a burn victim. I mean, because the one thing I will say about this, they showed the promo, and I could have sworn at the wedding we saw him in the background, like standing in the background, and he looked perfectly okay. So maybe Gideon heals him. I don't know. But they made it seem like we lost, like Spooner's like passed out and we know what's wrong with her. Constantine's dead and Rory's basically barbecued. So we got 3 people, that off the team that are like in dire straits right now, which is, it is what it is. But again, I think next week, he's not going to be one of the ones that's actually going to, and I could have swore I saw Spooner too. I would love to know the CW logic behind promos, because they show promos showing characters that you have a cliffhanger on. Like if you get shot, you already show the promo of this character talking about, blah, blah, blah. So you already know it's like they spoil themselves with these promos. And then you have like Roswell, New Mexico, where you get no promos. You don't get advertisements. You don't get sneak peeks on TV promo on YouTube. You don't get any of that crap. And like, I don't get it, because what are they really spoiling? And I kind of feel like with Roswell, New Mexico, it's almost like somebody called ICE on their marketing team and they just all got locked up or something or deported. I don't know what the hell was happening, but it's just interesting what the CW chooses to throw promos behind, because I feel like showing the Legends promo spoiled a lot of the suspense they were building up at the end of this episode. That's just me. Could be crazy. I don't know. But I like when he said, Constantine, when he was dying, he said to Astra, you are my greatest failure and my biggest accomplishment. And I'm like, I'm in my feelings. I'm like, in my feelings. That was so sad. And Zari got there right, as he was dying, and he was like, I killed it. And he didn't, there was no like last exchange of I love you, or, I'm like, you're the best thing that ever happened to me, blah, 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 blah. There was none of this, the sappiness that most couples get, which is why I don't think this is where John dies. I don't know why. I feel like we're going to get something else with him. Maybe he is going to come back and feel like crap and then go on a sabbatical, or do what Wally West is doing, go run around Tibet for like 5 years and try and figure himself out. But I don't think this is where John dies. I think this is not the last we see of him yet. So that's just my opinion. I mean, if you have an opinion, we'll look at that. But I really think that that's what that is. But I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, it was a good episode. I'm always amused and entertained with Legends of Tomorrow. There really isn't a time that I'm not. So I'm just glad we got to see a little bit more of Spooner's backstory, to know that she's actually from the 1920s. She's a 20s child. So she's a lot older. And the only reason that she's in the current timeline is because of the fountain. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, Legends was great. Now let's move on to Supergirl. So I always say that one of the things that bothers me the most about the Arrowverse is how they recycle plots. They recycle plots again. I mean, I love that we got more Kelly in this, because I really like Kelly's actress. I wish they do more with her. And like I said, I'm not trying to take away from her being a social worker, her trying to help these children that, these alien children that are being abused by this. Let's just face it, she was a bitch. putting shock collars basically on. It's like basically putting an electric collar on your dog. Horrible. But I feel like, so this actually wasn't a bad episode. It's just a recycled episode. So what I mean by that is Batwoman has done something almost exactly like this in season 2. There was a little boy that approaches Ryan that, needs to find the his older sibling or older brother. And, she finds out that he's being forced to be, or basically they go to I forgot what her name was, the one that was and I used to know this because it was in the comics. The Candy Lady, I think. Is it the Candy Lady? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not looking at the window right now. But anyway, the one that kidnapped Ryan, held her in the attic. Basically, it's, to me, this whole storyline was the same storyline as Ryan finding the older brother who's in the false face society, forced to be in the false face society and do all these bad things while the younger sibling was out looking for the brother. The only difference is that the little brother wasn't in a foster home and the older brother did not get arrested for trying to, rob a store to be able to pay for rent, which is effed up. I do like how they handled the situation better in Supergirl, how they basically said they don't help people like us because they're not only doing it from a minority or Black perspective, they also do it from an alien perspective. And you really could see it both ways. It's not something that is constantly said in Batwoman to the point where we know it's there, we live it, but at the same time, I don't understand why you have to say it in every conversation. And so it's just, it's a thing. It is a thing. So I will say I did like how they handled the two brothers in this episode. I just, for some reason, every time I watch this scene, I watch scenes with them, I'm like, wow, if you remove Kelly, that's literally the whole Batwoman side. That's the Batwoman plot. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe they're running out of shit to do. I don't know. That's probably what it is. But we did see Dreamer losing her crap. I'm like, oh, Lord, Dreamer. So she meets Nixley, and, they have this back and forth banter in a dream where, Dreamer's trying to desperately get to her mother. And what gets me is yes, I know the girl is having issues and she wants to see her mom, but I'm like, how are you this easily manipulated? I mean, your mother loved owls. Nixley's like, oh, owls are just evil bitches, I'll kill it. At the end of the day, you still end up killing this damn owl and then teaming up with Nixley because Nixley wants to get out of the realm. She wants to get her full powers back. She's from the freaking fifth dimension. And of course, Nia wants to get to her mom and she wants to understand her powers. And she, the idea of her being able to talk to her mother for one day because of Nixley, she'll do anything. And it's like, to me, it's a repeat of the effing Brainiac story, with Brainy, where he just decides to be evil for a while, but for the greater good, it's the same effing story. It's the same story. Just different players. Ironically, though, it's Brainy's girlfriend. So it's like your girlfriend has not learned from your situation. Instead is doing her... like, guys. So we do know that Guardian, we already knew this. They already announced that Kelly was going to be Guardian. So we know that Guardian is going to be a thing. And Alex knew somehow that Kelly was going to want to be Guardian and already is setting in motion to have her suit done. And I'm like, okay. I mean, we never had a conversation prior to this conversation where she showed a remote iota of interest in being Guardian. But I can see how, I'm taking it as these are conversations that Alex and Kelly had in the privacy of their home off screen, because a lot of the stuff happens off screen. I've noticed now in these shows that we are not privy to and that we just have to understand, because that's just what is told to us. And I don't know why. I looked at the window for a minute. Ryan said, I feel like Supergirl isn't wrapping up. See, I agree with you because they don't have a lot of episodes left. And this is like the slowest progression. But yeah, I am all for Kelly being guardian. I did love when Alex said, when Kelly's like, I love you. And she's like, well, let's see if you still love me after I start training you. And then Kelly smiles. I'm like, girl, she's not playing. Like, she's not playing with you. She really means what she says. I love how in sync they're now showing Alex and Kelly, because like, I've always thought they were cute, but like, I will never like not notice that Alex always seemed to have a stronger connection to Maggie through the writing, even though they were vastly different people. And Kelly is more of a supportive character. Like, honestly, in their relationship, I kind of feel like Alex is the dominant one and Kelly is the submissive one. Even how she was talking about herself, how she doesn't have the confidence. Because when Alex talks about her not having confidence, it's a pinpoint thing. And it's normally 9 times out of 10 related to Cara. But when Kelly does it, it is everything. It's like, oh, maybe I'm just not good. I can't motivate people. I can't take care of people. I'm worthless. I don't have powers. I don't have intellect. It's like, damn, When she was talking about her fear dream, she was like, oh yeah, I couldn't do anything else. So I just picked up the Guardian shield. Maybe I should be Guardian. I'm like, oh, Arrowverse. But again, I did not hate this episode. I didn't hate it. It's just, it's recycled plot. Like, most of this stuff was done already. Rather, it's the plot with Nia and Supergirl, or the plot with, the 2 siblings that basically, for me, mimics Batwoman. I don't know why. I don't know why these are the same stories. I mean, we have so much content you can pull from in the DC universe. Why in the hell do you need to recycle your own stories? It doesn't make any sense to me, but I've learned Arrowverse. So the work release program being like basically run by Intergang, completely believable. This is some Gotham level stuff for me, not National City level stuff for me, but completely believable. Joey and Orlando, the little boy they got to play Joey was absolutely effing adorable. I just want to go in there and just pinch his cheeks the whole time he was talking. Orlando, I mean, awesome. He was such a relatable character. He's such a good actor. He has a lot of emotion on his face. Like, he can emote with his face, which is very hard to do, especially if you're method. And I related to him. I felt bad for him. I'm like, please give them somewhere to live. Now, my question is, when he got pardoned by the judge and he went to get his brother out of the foster place, like, aren't there like procedures? He just like rolled in there and was like, all right, let's go. I'm like, I don't think that's how that works. And then where are you taking him? Because if you didn't have anywhere to go before you went to jail, where are you going now? Where are you going? I don't know. I thought a really interesting twist on this would have been if Kelly and Alex adopted Joey. Like, they Kelly fell in love with Joey, brought him around Alex because, Alex's maternal clock has been ticking forever now. And they decided, hey, we're going to take Joey and that little kid that's like really cool. Esme. Esme was a really cool little kid. Let's take these 2 kids and they can be our kids. And then we'll let Orlando come and take care of his brother and see his brother whenever he wants and then go live his life without having a lot of stress. And we got this, something like that. I thought that would have been very cool. But no. The only progression that's really happening right now is that Kelly is going to be Guardian. I mean, that's literally it. We got Andrea freaking out about the paper because none of them realize that the bottom line is not all she cares about. She's worried about keeping the damn magazine afloat. And she's stressing out because when your paper fails, your investors dump you. And if the investors go, she can't afford to keep that place by herself. So a perfect thing for me is to have Kat come back. Just have her come back for the last 2 or 3 episodes, come in, save Catco, and, do your thing. Probably not going to happen. I actually think I would be really excited if they were, if Clarissa was able to come back as Kat. I think that would be amazing. But again, I don't think that that's ever going to happen. But I kind of feel like I don't hate Andrea. I feel bad for her because she's legit trying. And like, everyone's like, I want to do my own thing, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you guys don't understand the money, the sponsors, the investors keep our doors open. You can't write stories if you don't have any computers, if you don't have lights, if you don't have all this stuff. She's just not telling them, how bad it really is. So I don't know. Like I said, it's a thing. It is a thing. But again, overall, the little bit of Martian Manhunter we got in here, it's fine. The Super Friends, which I still laugh at. I laugh at this all the damn time. Hey, Super Friends. Fine. Yeah. We got references of Jimmy, and we know that Jimmy's going to be appearing at some point in this. William basically getting the scoop from Supergirl that's an homage to every Superman moment where, Clark never got the story and Lois always did. So it is what it is. But yeah, they still have a long way to go this season, or this second half of the season, to make me feel like there's some kind of resolution that's not going to feel forced and effing rushed to me, because that's how it feels to me right now. So just saying. All right. And now for the last show, Stargirl season 2. Eclipso. So all of us said that the Shade wanted basically to take, Eclipso out, and that he wasn't really there to harm the JSA or JSA Juniors and Pat. And we kind of knew that, because he could have done that when they went to the tea party that he had at his house. He could have killed him right then, or sent him into a shadow realm, and he didn't. And so that should have been like a clue that maybe he's got a different agenda. Like he doesn't, he's not trying to take them out. There's something else that he's doing. And again, last week in our last stream, we said, oh, he's probably pissed off and wants to take out Eclipso. He doesn't want Eclipso. He wants to get rid of Eclipso. Eclipso has done something to him. And he is not sharing. They talk about Snyder's daughter, and she was 10 years old, and Eclipso killed her, which we saw. We saw that creepy ass It moment in the premiere of the season 2. But I think it's very personal for the Shade. So Eclipso has done something to him personally, and he is making sure that damn rock, that diamond, that entity never sees the light of effing day, which is cool to me. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Cindy. Oh, I gotta admit, the girl they cast for Cindy, that girl, I'm like, you just want to reach in and smack the hell out of her every time she's on the screen. She can do this really sweet face, but behind it at the same time, it's like pure evil. Except she does these emotional moments. Like she was sitting there saying, I didn't want her dead. Like when she's talking about, her stepmom, she really didn't, because Cindy does not want to be abandoned. She doesn't want to be alone. But part of me thinks it wasn't just talking about her stepmother. It was because she killed her or accidentally took out her mother. We don't know the whole story behind that, but she did something. Her mother ended up getting hurt, and her mother even said, I'm sorry that I let your father find you. So all of that is trauma. Cindy is the most traumatized ISA child out there so far. And so she has what I call psychotic bipolar. So sometimes you feel really bad for her, and then most of the time you just want to smack them, just shake the hell out of her. So that's a thing. And then let's talk about Artemis. Artemis is going through it. They got her with this woman who she reminded me of something that you would see on King of the Hill. I'm like, she's horrible. She wasn't packing her lunch. She wasn't doing anything. And Artemis had tryouts to get on the football team for college. And, she's like, they have her on non-processed food, protein bars, whey powder. And, this woman was giving her nothing but junk. And she's like, I need fuel. What the hell am I supposed to do? And it was absolutely hysterical to me that this woman was like, not my problem. I don't really care. But I don't know, the whole thing with Artemis has a temper, and Artemis is strong as hell, but we know this in the comics. But when Courtney gave her that apple and then was like trying to talk to her about her parents being in jail, and she squeezed that apple and then she bumped Courtney's arm, I'm like, well, shit. Like, we all know that in a one-on-one fight, Courtney cannot take Artemis. It's just it. She has to use the staff. She cannot take Artemis. If there is a scene or episode in this season where she takes out Artemis without the use of that staff, I will instantly call Arrowverse BS. And then that will be my first indication that she and everybody else have definitely entered into the Arrowverse because that is not going to happen. Artemis is way too strong for her to take in hand-to-hand combat. Just not going to happen. Now, I will say what I thought was also interesting. There's little nitpicks or little things, not nitpicks, but little moments I thought were really cool. So like, for instance, we're still talking about the fact that Yolanda keeps getting out of her house while she's been like infinitely grounded. And now she's allowed to have a job. I don't know what's going on with her family. Like, I don't know. Don't know what is happening with Yolanda's family. Somebody needs to break down the family. I can't even do a video on Yolanda's family because I don't understand them. As a parent, if I ground my child, she is grounded. She is not getting out of the house. I will know where she is. I don't understand Yolanda's punishment. Come home from school, but you don't really come home from school. Can't go out at night, but you go out every night. You have to go to summer school, even though you make straight A's to stay out of trouble, but yet now you have an after-school job or summer job. What in the hell is happening? Like, somebody please explain to me what the hell is happening with that. I don't understand Yolanda's family whatsoever. I don't understand it. So there's that. They mentioned Diablo Island, which, comic accurate. Then, they basically discussed the history of it, how Diablo Island stopped being on the map after 1832 or at 1832. They mentioned Bruce Gordon, which, comic book lovers know that he was possessed by Eclipso and lost his shit. He was a scientist. It's a thing. So all of that stuff, I love how they're bringing that in. Interestingly enough for me, first of all, let's go back to Cindy for a minute. How effing cool is it that she had a picture of her version of the ISA and you saw like emo looking Mike? You had like the fiddler's son, Isaac, looking all emo. You got Artemis looking all emo. You got all these key players and Cameron, like they all look evil as hell. And I'm like, did she Photoshop this or did she ask Eclipso to just make this imaginary photo to hang on the wall? I'm like, girl has got problems. And if you look at this, if you break this down, it is Cindy's loneliness. She doesn't want to be alone. She wanted to be an ISA member. Her dad wouldn't let her be an ISA member. They treated her like a child. She's finally getting to be in the ISA, her version. Like Courtney started her JSA, she's starting her ISA. And it's like that photo was on point. I'm sorry. I'm like, she's either got really good like photoshopping skills or Eclipso is a great photoshopper with powers. But that, yeah, I still need to know why they want Mike so bad. Because as far as I can tell, if it's not to hurt Stargirl and Pat, I don't know why she would try and recruit him, because he has no real ability in a way. He's smart, he's resourceful, but what does he bring to the table when they all have abilities? So I'm just curious about what exactly it is she thinks that Mike is going to do, because that's a thing. That is a thing. Artemis's parents, especially Sportsmaster, the whole interaction with Pat and Barbara, basically them kidnapping Mike so that they could go home with Pat and lay low because they wanted to see their daughter's tryout. So they broke out of prison to go to the game, basically, which means they could have got out of prison whenever the hell they wanted to, which is interesting. But so they went and they're hanging out, and I love how they were bonding with, Pat and Barbara over their kids and life and all this stuff. Like Pat, that whole situation was just really crazy to me. It was crazy. But at the same time, it shows that they had one thing in common. They both loved their kids. And the fact that they were willing to step away from Artemis in the end because they wanted her to have a future was amazing. And I was so pissed off at freaking Courtney, because yes, Artemis has a temper, but she really wanted that. And her parents really wanted her to have a future. So, that could have been a stepping stone for her to go on like the straight and narrow, even though she hasn't done anything yet. And Cindy took it away by making her see those SWAT officers taking her parents. I'm just like, that's so messed up, so, but yeah, but overall, I enjoyed every scene between Pat. Like, Pat was with Sportsmaster, Tigress was with Barbara, and like even little moments like when they were talking about Courtney and Artemis and how they get frustrated with how they act, and then the coffee pot like falls and Tigress like catches it, and at first she didn't want coffee, she's just like, caffeine, but she's like, well, maybe I'll try a little. I freaking loved it. And Sportsmaster saying, oh, I don't know, I thought we were really going to be friends. What happened? And Pat's like, I don't know, maybe it was when you like tried to kill me. That kind of puts a damper pretty much on the relationship. And I thought that was effing hilarious. So for me, having these two parents stick around brought comedy, because let's be clear, Pat is dry humor. He's dry humor. Barbara has no humor. I like Barbara, but sometimes she's very boring. And then I have like Courtney really doesn't make me laugh. None of them really make me laugh. As a matter of fact, it's almost like a lot of them are just in a perpetual state of limited depression, and they just try very hard not to be. No one really makes me laugh. Even with Rick went to take that test again with the teacher that thought he was cheating, that was coming off as a bitch in the season premiere. And she realized that, oh, you really are smart. You got another perfect score. I'm sorry for doubting. And he's like, well, you mean like everybody else? And I'm like, but Rick, it's okay, because you're over here feeling, you're feeding Grundy. You actually are buying 12 cheeseburgers to go. Where is Rick getting this damn money, guys? This may be the first clue that we have entered the Arrowverse, is the unlimited amount of money that you have while not having employment. I don't understand that concept whatsoever. So that might be a red flag right there. I'm just going to throw that out there. But, it's a thing. And I love how he's like, I have to go feed my dog. And, Beth's like, what kind of dog do you have? And he's like, a big one. She's like, I'm like, if anybody's going to understand him, though, it's going to be Beth. Because, again, I always say this. They were a couple in the comics. I don't know if they're going to be a couple in this version. But, at the very least, they are the one. Like, she always talks to Rick. She doesn't talk to Courtney or Yolanda. So it's almost like Rick and Beth are close. And then, of course, Yolanda and Courtney are BFFs. But they all care about each other. That's what it seems like to me. So, I don't know. I don't know what is happening. But yeah, this episode was great. It was really great. And there was something else that I saw, and I thought I made a note about it. What was it? I feel like I missed something. There's another little DC comic reference that I think I missed. And for some reason, actually, hold on. Maybe I did not. Maybe I didn't, guys. Or maybe I did. I feel like I did. I feel like I missed something. I know what it was. I know. It was House of Secrets. As a Young Justice fan, I was extremely happy about that. Plus, when I further researched into this, because, you have to remember how many comic references are in this. It was also a comic series, a horror anthology, which premiered The Swamp Thing. And that makes me extremely excited to see that they put that in there. So I'm happy. Ignore me while I get water because my sinuses are choking me to death. And plus, my daughter is cooking something in the kitchen, and I think I'm slowly dying. It's on the opposite wall. So anyway, but yeah, I thought it was really cool that the House of Secrets was referenced. And then they always have little Easter eggs, like little DC comic Young Justice animated series, like references they'll just throw in. And I really feel like House of Secrets has been used a lot in a lot of different DC properties. But that stood out to me when she went in there, because remember in Young Justice, it was also a magic shop. So I really, really like that. But Courtney telling her mother that she wouldn't just jump in and run straight into the shade, and then she goes to the House of Secrets and sees the shade, and that's exactly what she does. Courtney literally is going to have a hard fall. And what I mean by that, she's going through that. I'm invulnerable. My team's invincible. We got this, Mom. Don't worry. We got this. And something has to happen for her to realize that she doesn't. And I already know it's going to be something that has to do with Mike. I don't think he's going to die, but I think him becoming evil is going to mess her up. So I am very, very happy about that. And then there's the last thing that we learned in this episode that I thought was interesting. So Beth, having unsuccessfully able to get her helicopter parents to pay attention to her or each other, she's still trying to get her BFF back, Chuck. So she's sitting at the computer and, she's trying to get through this firewall. And then she hears a voice and she's like, Chuck, it's me, Beth Chappell. He's like, who the hell are you? And she's like, it's me, Beth. And he's like, why are you calling me Chuck? I'm basically Dr. McKnight, or I'm Dr. Midnight. And she's like, wait, what? Like the real Dr. Midnight? So apparently he's been alive this entire damn time. And he's been stuck in one of the Shade's shadow realms. Just walking. I don't know how he poops, eats, and sleeps. I guess maybe it sustains you. Like, instead of you being suspended animation, you're just walking animation. I don't know, but years he's been trapped. So Dr. Midnight is alive. Starman is alive. I'm starting to wonder how many JSA members are actually still living, because it'd be funny. They all come back and like, can I have my shit back? That would be funny. So that literally would be the best season finale ever. All of them show up at the door like, we would like you to give us our shit back that legally belongs to us, trademark, copyrighted, intellectual property, commercial licensed. So can you hand me our shit? How would this episode play out? Because I already told you that one I am looking forward to the most is when we finally get a meeting between Starman and Stargirl. What will the staff do? What will the staff choose? I am extremely excited on that. So, and I think Courtney, if anything's going to humble Courtney, it's like what she said to Jade. She's like, you're the real deal. I'm pretty much feel like an imposter. I'm like, technically you are. Yeah, that the staff chose to work with you, but I mean, you technically were never Stargirl. You became Stargirl. That was you decided to be Stargirl. It wasn't like this predestined destiny that you had to do. So I just think it's interesting that I believe sometimes the reason that Courtney jumps the gun and she works so hard at being Stargirl is because she's scared she could lose it at like any time, because she doesn't feel like she's worthy of it. And when Starman comes, that's when we're going to see all the drama. So I'm excited for that. That is going to be very, very cool. Trying to see if there's anything else before I look at a few questions. Did I forget anything? I don't think I did. Don't think I did I? I don't think I did. So let me scroll up. Scrolling up. Moving over. Thanks for doing your live stream today, because other time would have been 3 a.m. in the morning for me. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know these time zones kill people, guys. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I would have preferred to see this yesterday, but I guess this one is okay. I know. See, the problem is, which is why my voice keeps going out, is I had a lot of voice stuff to do, like a lot of voice work yesterday. And these aren't easy jobs. They are normally hours of talking. So I even knew, and I was going to try and do one at like later, like 9, 10, 11 o'clock, but I knew my voice would be gone. I knew it would be shot. I wouldn't be able to say anything. And a lot of people in the poll sent me messages through Instagram, which I thought was really interesting. I don't know why. I'm not saying you can't message me through Instagram, because a lot of you do that anyway. But I'm just saying that it was really weird that you answered the poll. Like, there's some people did it on the poll, and some people did it on Instagram, and like more people on Instagram wanted it today during the afternoon. I guess maybe people wanted to sleep. I guess I don't know, but I get it. But yeah, we're a day late. Yeah, this should not happen again. But again, I do also work as a voice actor. I can't control when I get hired, and got to make that money. So mama's got bills. So yeah, I can't promise that I won't be doing this in the future, but right now I don't have anything on a Wednesday in the foreseeable future, so I should be good. And I do try and move it to days where I'm not having a scheduled stream. So this one, unfortunately, I didn't have a choice. So it's a thing, guys. It's a thing. Legend finale on Sunday. Yep. We get the wedding episode. Maybe, I'm hoping. I don't think the wedding's going to happen. It might happen. I don't know. I've only just realized that Nia's mom and Celeste are the same actress. Yep. I mean, Supergirl has always recycled people. I like how they retcon Spooner's origin story in this episode. Yeah. I mean, again, I literally thought that she was going to be from, she was going to be like an alien herself, or she was abducted by aliens and they were holding her mom, or they were Green Lantern trainees. I don't know. I mean, it's just really weird. But I mean, I'm not hating it. As much as I'm a fan of Constantine, we think we read this one. He's the king of self-sabotage. He really is. I liked the Supergirl episode. It had a lot of nice messages. Maybe the reason Josefina had plant powers is because they were testing to see if they can make it work before bringing in Poison Ivy. Not a coincidence she was introduced and Ivy announced later. Oh, guys. Poison Ivy. The actress looks cool for the role. I don't know her very well, but she looks cool. Let me do a moment here. I'm doing a parental moment on the stream. Mai, can you please turn the fan on because you're killing me with smoke? Thank you. Parenthood, guys. Parenthood. But no, like, I like the actress. I don't know. I don't see a world where Ryan Wilder can ever take out Poison Ivy. I'm sorry. I don't see this world. I just can't fathom this world. It's like I said, I guess we'll see in October, won't we? I'm not liking what they're doing with Constantine. They need to pull the character. I absolutely agree. He's not the comic Constantine, for absolute sure. There's no universe he would have put that damn vial in his arm. We all know that. What is up with this show and Motherland and magic mushrooms? I know, right? Like somebody is into the fungi. That's what it is. They're in their feelings. They came out one day. Somebody's like, oh, fungi is gross, and threw it all away. And then that was it. That's what happened. I hope we at least still get to see that Matt Ryan voice act as Constantine in the future. He's so good in that role. I think he's willingly giving up the role too. I don't know. I got to figure that out because he's the one that seems to be retiring it, not, Arrowverse. So maybe he's just tired of doing it. Maybe he's being typecast. In the Hellblazer comics, Constantine often uses psychedelics in his magic rituals. True. He does. But it's stuff that he gets and acquires and makes himself, not what Bishop would make. They should have adopted Esme, the little girl. I would say Joey, but he went back with his brother. I still don't know where they're living. Where are they living? How did your housing situation change? You've been in jail. You didn't make any money in jail. Did you like this week's episode or its intention at least? Explain to me what you believe the intention of this episode is. Because again, as I stated earlier, I believe this is a recycled plot. So if I'm going to be one of those people that's just like, those reviewers that are just like in their feelings and they have to say stuff like, oh, agenda. Then I would say, well, it's because they didn't think I got the message the first time. So they had to write it into this story. Now the message needs to be out there. So I'm not saying anything about that, but recycling a plot to the point where it instantly hits me that I'm watching Batwoman that's problematic for me. So I liked the episode for what it was because it was more Kelly. It had more Kelly in it. But outside of that, no, not really. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same episode. Will the alien babies have a human appearance or is this an alien situation? Rory's babies? That is a really good question. Very good question. I like the plot twist. John surprised me. Yep. The CW can't even get their trailers right. I mean, it's so weird too. It's like, oh no, is Rory dead? Nope, he's right there in the back. He's like right there. I mean, why would you put the characters that are in your cliffhanger in the trailer for the next episode? You should literally put every scene around these two characters, or three technically, away from, the forefront. So nobody actually knows if they survived. Like if I was going to show the wedding, I would not focus on two people that are in dire straits right now. It doesn't make any sense. Spooner has a psychic link to the fountain, and the fountain died, so it affected her the same as John. No, I mean, we knew that. That's self-explanatory, but we don't know on what level it affected her. Are her powers gone? Is she diseased? I know she's not dead because, again, she was in the trailer and she was at the wedding. So, I mean, she can't be dead. Who remembers the Charmed 315 where they put Abby in it and she's in the episode for 30 seconds? I mean, who doesn't? So only 30 seconds we got. I am so excited for Charmed and still mourning Macy. I need to get more exposition. I don't understand where this third sister is coming from, since it's not going to be Marisol's child, and how it's connected to them if they don't have the same mother and both of their fathers are human. So then how is she magical? I guess, okay, play devil's advocate. Maybe Ray had another family and maybe he married another witch. And so this is their half sister with the same human father and another witch's baby. This family is a mess. I can see that, guys. I can see that. It's either going to be Dexter or Ray's kid with another magical being. Wow. Or a white lighter. Wouldn't that be messed up? But then no, she has to be a witch though, because she has to be able to cast spells. I don't know. But yeah, CW needs to absolutely fix their promos. Even if John does die, remember Felix Foss was able to escape the afterlife, so it's really off the table for John to do the same. Is it really? No, I don't think he's dead. Honestly, I think they're not going to be able to kill an iconic character off completely like Constantine. I think there'd be a lot of nerd rage. So he's probably going to go off and find himself. This episode was better than last week's. Supergirl? True, I'll give you that. No brainer, Lena, this episode. I know. I love when Martian Manhunter was like, maybe Lena can come and partner with you. And I was thinking, with Kara? With Kara? I hate that she is not in these episodes. This is the last season. Why would you have Lena out trying to find herself? You know, that could have been a 1 episode deal. She's like, I need to go find myself. Will you go on a trip with me, Kara? Blah, 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 blah. And then that would have been it. Not 3 episodes, 2-3 episodes. That's weird. Ryan, still not as bad as what they did with the He-Man and Masters of the Universe Revelations. I thought it was heartwarming. I don't remember seeing this plot on any other show, but it's probably from something I didn't watch. You watched Batwoman. I did a review on it. It's literally the episode where the little boy was outside trying to get Batwoman's attention to help find her older brother who was in trouble, and he was being recruited by the False Face Society to do bad things, and the little brother wanted him back. And they ended up, kidnapping Jacob, because Jacob literally, you want to talk about the bitch, the bitch of the show, the damsel in distress. It's not Sophie, it's not Mary or Luke. It is Jacob. So Jacob's gone now, but I guess somebody's going to have to pick that up. So I guess Mary's going to be kidnapped a lot next season, but I just thought that was funny. The writing on Supergirl is trash. Yeah. I'm British, and the way John speaks annoys me. I'm sorry. I'm half British. I had a British accent until I was 10 when I moved to the States, but I had this weird hybrid Scottish English accent because my mother was born in Aberdeenshire and she was raised half there in Cove Bay. And then when she was like 15, she moved to, I think it's called Corby, Northamptonshire. So she had a very interesting voice. And so when I came to the States, I used to get made fun of a lot. So I made this voice, and that's why my voice has no real accent or dialect. I literally can clone people when I talk to them because I don't have an actual voice. So it's something else you learned about me. It's why I'm really good at voice acting. They're building to something though. I like Mixie. I want Mixie to come back. Brainy is so underutilized, and good Lena seems like a third as resourceful as evil Lena. Yeah. They just need to hook Kara up with Lena and just let it go. Your show is ending. Just do it. Just have an episode at the end where they realize they are actually into each other, like we all knew. And people will say, oh, they only did that to make the fans happy. So what? People talk trash about the Arrowverse anyway. At least let them talk trash about something cool. really this felt different than that. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't get the same vibes. Like I said, everybody interprets things differently. Everybody sees things differently. But for me, it's a recycled plot. If I literally spent the time, if I had this time, I could go through not only Arrowverse shows, but other CW shows where they basically take the same plot, twist it a little bit, and just rotate it across these shows. It is weird to me. It's just a very weird concept. I don't know why they do it, but they do. I mean, how many times has Barry Allen had amnesia, right? So Barry had amnesia, then Harry had amnesia and didn't remember Macy, and then we went back to, Roswell in Mexico, and Max had amnesia and didn't remember Liz. And like it was up, I think actually happened within the a space of 2 months apart. So it hit one show, then the same plot went to another show, then the same plot went to another show. I'm like, this is too much. You could have done something completely different. Oh yeah, Supergirl copy Batwoman. Yep. Supergirl was actually pretty good this episode. Yeah, like I said, I think for me, the highlights were we actually got more Kelly, because I don't know where Kelly goes. Kelly lives with Alex. She has no reason not to be around. And like, I'm still trying to figure out why the girl had a job interview literally the next day from the Phantom Zone. Like, I don't get to go to bed. I have a job interview. I was like, okay. Why does John keep calling Kara Supergirl? Call her Kara. Because he can't say it. I like how they acknowledge the fact the system is broken. Yeah. But they acknowledged it and they really showed it. I mean, dude was like, I literally made minimum wage and they wouldn't give me an apartment. So I went and tried to rob the store so we had somewhere to live. And then I went to jail. And I'm like, yeah, the system doesn't help me. And he's like, I beg people to help me. And that was one of the arguments that I thought was very compelling because it's so true. As somebody who's worked in a lot of nonprofits, I know for a fact that that is very, very true because there's so many people in need. You can't help everyone. So there's a quota you have to meet. And even if you are literally sleeping on the floor at a bus stop, you may not make the cut because they don't have funding to help you because they don't have unlimited funding. And so that to me was a very true statement. So I did like the writing for the siblings, really liked the especially like him just detailing it. And then Supergirl saying, I can't promise you that the system is going to get fixed, but I'm going to do everything I can to help you. And a lot of people can interpret that in a very interesting way because this is a super powered show. This is a comic show. So if some people can say, well, when Supergirl talks, then of course people will listen. But what they're also saying is she's a white woman with blonde hair and blue eyes in the United States. And so of course her voice is going to carry on the news talking about, all the injustices rather than having Kelly even on there. There's going to be like, oh, you're just another minority bitching. That's literally what I got out of that. So if we're going to go by that part or portion of the story, I did like that because it's true. It's just truth. Poor Nia. Yeah, Nia should have really learned from her boyfriend. That's all I'm going to say. Maybe it's so pressing, especially with the pandemic, who are the people who are impacted the worst with the system. True. Nia is so gullible. Very true. I like that, and it's important because the people who need to hear and digest are hopefully watching the series. The people privileged enough to not be aware. I know a lot of people living in bubbles. Andrea annoyed me last episode, and she's getting worse. I understand where she's coming from. So, see, I don't want people to just hate on her because let's be clear. Kat was the exact same way. Driven, motivated, would do anything to get a story, do anything to get ahead. But she did it with a kind of a grace that you didn't realize she was always doing that or pushing you or doing, all of this. And that's because with age, so supposedly comes wisdom. Andrea is still young. She's in over her head right now, trying to keep this paper afloat, trying to keep ahead of all of her competition, and she is losing. And I'm telling you, if you lose investors, you're going to sink. We've seen this. We've seen this in the comics. We've seen papers that lose funding. Heck, even Lois and Clark, their paper was tanking and Lex Luthor ended up buying it, and it's like she's trying to keep this place relevant and they're not bringing her anything. And they're literally being scooped on Supergirl stories when Supergirl works for freaking Cat Club. So it's a thing. I'm not going to hate on her for that. Why are psychic characters so clueless? You got to believe, because I feel like Nia doesn't know what she's doing, because she said this. She's like, I don't know how to use my power. So if she's doubting herself all the time, that makes perfect sense. That's what it is. She's clueless because she literally is doubting everything about her abilities, who she is, how, what any of this stuff means. She never got to train with her mother because they didn't think that Nia would be the one that got the powers. I thought it would be Nia's older sister. So I think there's a lot to that, inexperience there. I feel like Supergirl isn't wrapping up. Me either. Nixley probably sees the good Kara saw. She's probably too traumatized to mention anything that happened there. The Brainy Luck stuff feels different than this to me, in my opinion. I mean, I can't tell you you're wrong. I'm just telling you from my point of view. It's basically the same story, just different players. That's what it is for me. I hope they don't do an abrupt open-ended ending. Yeah, that'd be a thing. So Manel is going to come back, but I'll be fuming if he only comes back in the last episode. They should bring him back 5 episodes towards the end. Well, it takes solace in the fact that he's married to her in real life and they have a kid. So she married Manel. I'm liking this season a lot, but I hope that after this episode, I hope they go crazy and don't look back. As a final season, they should do that. Everybody should just go nuts. Like, newsflash, National City is the capital of psychosis. This is going to be abrupt because Supergirl is going to end with her joining the Legion, right? So it will be this team minus her and Brainy Back to the Future. That might be true. Like if Alex and I bet you that is probably what will happen. Kelly and Alex will be the new saviors of National City. And Kara will go to the future and join Legion and be with Monel. Yeah, the season feels a lot different than the others. It was better than the trash eps. True. Hopefully Alex and Kelly go back and adopt one of those kids. I really wanted that to happen. The season does not feel like a final season at all. Yep. I thought they were going to adopt him as well. It really, especially when the way she was looking at him, and even Esme, I thought that she was going to adopt those 2 kids. I don't know why. I just thought that was what was going to happen. Then they would have their little boy and their little girl. But it didn't happen. I'm pretty sure Orlando is continuing appearing for the next episodes. So then that would be cool because that gives me hope that maybe, his brother will be adopted. Can they bring Andrea's dad into it? Probably not. Are you going to review only Murders in the Building? No. I actually have no interest in seeing that. I am going to see Shang-Chi tomorrow night, which is why I'm moving the What If episode. I got drive-in tickets. So it starts at 7:45. So I will be doing a non-spoiler review of that Saturday morning. And then, of course, we're going to have our What If and the video that I'm really looking forward to, Zatanna versus Scarlet Witch. I'm really looking forward to that video because I've been researching. I knew a lot about Zatanna specifically. I did not know how much. I didn't know. So now I'm in my feelings because I cannot honestly give an answer right now. So tomorrow's stream on that is going to be very interesting. Kat is too busy with Senator stuff. That's true. I doubt Calista will come back. I think it was more of, especially now with COVID, I think it was more about how much time she was spending away from her family. It's rough being on the CW. Andrea is so annoying. I feel bad for her. She is the only grown up in an Arrowverse kid's house. True. The Super Friends team is so open, even the comparisons to the League. Super Friends was a fan name for the group adopted by the show. And Super Friends was also a Silver Age comic reference as well. So Super Friends was not something that just appeared in Supergirl. They've been saying Super Friends since I was young. And I'm old, so. Is that Psylocke behind you? Yes, that is. Good eye, Ray. There's a lot of people are behind me. I got lots of people. I guess I'll have to do one of those videos where I just show you all the stuff I have. You can't even see half the stuff in this room. But yeah, that right here, that way. That is Psylocke right there. And it is Quanon Psylocke. Where the hell is Jade? That is a damn good question. I don't know where the hell Jade is. Jade is going off to find her brother. She figured out how to not blow people up, and then she just left. I'm like, she's like, oh, and I can fly. I'm out. She hasn't been in episodes 3 and 4. I hate that they literally plugged her, and she might be one of those characters that comes in the last 2 or 3 episodes, or she'll come in later to help when everything's already at the worst. You know, she'll be like, I'm back. I think he's bad, but he's even more pressed about Eclipso, who's evil, because something happened. Eclipso did something to him. I really wanted Courtney to see Cindy. Yeah, that would have been epic. I think this is the trope with there are being chaos who aren't true agents of evil, and then there's direct tap evil, and that's what we are seeing him trying to stop that. Well, yeah, and like even when he was talking to Courtney, he was like, you know, he was like getting ready to assault her, and he's like, child. Like, I mean, yeah, maybe he has a weakness for kids in this universe. I don't know, but he's definitely, and he says there's definitely a difference between being bad and being evil. So I did like that line. I thought that was cool. Maybe Eclipso is more of an existential threat against humanity, which conflicts with Shade's interests. Could be. How is Rick getting good results? He studied. Like, Croc and Paula are confirmed to be series regulars in season 3. Do you think after the end of this episode and their tiny redemption, they could end up joining or assisting the JSA? Maybe. I mean, the Arrowverse is notorious for reforming their villains and making them into good guys. So, and we've seen it on every show. I mean, almost every show. So, I mean, yeah, I don't foresee that not happening. So, probably Artemis seems stronger than a regular kid. I feel like she got some sort of powers. Oh, she definitely does. She's superhuman. She's absolutely superhuman. What if Eclipso possessed the Shade's son and the little boy from episode 1 is the Shade's child? Huh. Ooh. Well, the thing is, now that we know his name was Bruce, then we know that I was Bruce Gordon. Because remember, the little boy's name that was Eclipso was Bruce. Now, whether that was the actual little boy and Eclipso possessed him, or he was taking on the image of Bruce Gordon, that little boy's name was Bruce. So, was not lost on me. Please keep that Arrowverse BS out of my Stargirl. I mean, I'm so serious. So serious. Oh, yeah, Yolanda has a job. I don't... Guys, somebody just needs to explain to me how the hell this girl is able to do anything. Someone needs to explain this to me. No, that's not him. I don't know what you're talking about. I always wondered why Mike is despite Courtney, does she pity him? I would feel bad for Mike. His dad was the one that was the sidekick. His dad was the one that was officially a member of the JSA, but yet your stepsister comes in and gets all the glory and all the JSA stuff when you think that should be your birthright because you're the biological son. I would definitely think that would be a thing. And then let's be clear. Mike said he felt alone in the last episode. He accidentally gave all the thunder powers to Jakeem. He's back on his paper route, which hopefully he's not being bullied more. I don't know. But outside of him being kidnapped for a millisecond, we never saw Mike again. So Mike is always alone. That's literally the gist of it. He's alone. So I don't get why, that would be. I don't understand why. Well, okay. The way they're setting it up, it's making it very, very easy for Mike to join Cindy's team because he already feels alone. So the thing is, Mike's mom a villain? I really want to know I like to say that Crisis messed things up, and so maybe it altered a lot of people, but let's be clear about this. We don't have enough exposition on Stargirl to know what was changed because their series hadn't premiered when Crisis began. We just know they're on Earth too. I don't know. I don't know why they broke up. I don't know why she doesn't see her son. We don't know what's going on in the Arrowverse version of this character. So, good question. She's alone because it's her fault. She should have been in the JSA if she wasn't such a bee to everyone. You mean Cindy? Sportsmaster and Tigers for a Trip. They were cracking me up. All of that was cracking me up. Hello, D. Marie. It was comedy to see similarities in the parent sets. Yeah, I absolutely love Sportsmaster's face when he was sort of like, I thought we were becoming friends. We were making a connection. What happened? And Pat's like, well, you tried to kill me. So, I mean, that was a thing. That would do it. Most friendships don't really go very far when you try and off the other one. They are both raising exceptionally gifted children, and that gives them a unique connection and experience. True. They're all rich. No, they're not. I mean, Artemis couldn't even afford to buy an apple. Like, that's another thing. You know what? How come Artemis can't afford food and eating, but yet Rick can buy 12 damn cheeseburgers? Where's the fairness in this? Like, where's the fairness in this? Why the Asian girl got to be poor? Or she's Eurasian. Why does the Eurasian girl have to be poor? Huh? I see what you did there, CW. I see what you did. Superhero episode was actually pretty good. Action, drama, fun. I'm glad you liked it. You forgot about Dr. Midnight. I think I caught up because I think I talked about him being trapped in the Shades, one of his shuttle realms. I want them to plug in Swamp Thing to revive the Green. That would be awesome. Could you imagine them meeting Swamp Thing? That would be hilarious. Stargirl is fun to watch. It is. At least the Easter eggs in Stargirl mean something. Absolutely. I mean, they reference a lot of stuff, but you're absolutely right. It should be like a magical game where you just sit here and pause the show and look for all the Easter eggs in the background. I think that would be cool. So is Chuck and Dr. Midnight one and the same? Yes. And how is Dr. Midnight communicating through Chuck? Are there two Chucks? Because he still had goggles in the Shadowland. It looked like he had an outline to it. So Chuck is supposed to be basically the AI, the essence of Dr. Midnight as an AI. But essentially, it literally is the consciousness of Dr. Midnight. And so essentially, like, that's how you distinguish between Dr. Midnight and the goggles, is because you call the goggles Chuck. But basically, it's one and the same. It's his personality, brain, everything programmed in. I wonder if the helmet of Naboo will make an appearance and start. Oh, that would be cool. That would be cool. Huh. That would be really interesting. There are a lot of characters I'm wondering if they're coming to. There's lots of potential. Because we're not just doing Stars and Stripes. I mean, like I said, a lot of the stuff I'm seeing is like Baby Infinity Ink, and like it makes me laugh. And I'm super excited for how this plays out, even though there's some tragic endings in that series. Like there are some characters that don't make it. So yeah, Courtney has to learn stuff the hard way. Yep, I agree. The Legends is all around very good, very true. It doesn't surprise me they wouldn't only cast him for one scene. I hope not. How can Courtney be so confident when she can't even handle shit? Icicle was a lucky accident by her brother hitting him with a car. She's not confident. She's just acting like she is. She is literally faking it until she makes it. That is what is happening with her. Because, I mean, there's no way. There's just no way. There's no way. The revelation about Dr. Midnight was intriguing. I'm just happy that he's able to walk around for years and not use a bathroom or need to eat or sleep. So that's amazing. Looks like most of the originals just left or walked away. Starman versus Star Girl battle it out for the staff. I want to see. I'm going to give it to Ted because he doesn't want it. I really want to see Starman fighting style because watching Stargirl fight is amazing. She would be a good cat character as well. True. Starman in the comics was pretty badass, but it depends on which Starman you're talking about. My ENT doctor is to put a pinch more salt in saline nose spray, ocean saline nose spray, let you pop up in the bottle, unlike others. Somebody asked for sinuses advice. Is that for me? Because like I've tried the saline sprays. They don't work for me. I live in the South, where the pollen literally grows out of the ground. Like that's how I feel anyway. It is everywhere. So this is the season that I get really clogged, which is sad because my favorite season is fall, but it's a thing. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Pat and Courtney meet Starman. Me too. I'm so looking forward to that. I mean, she said sometimes I can't type. You have a life. It's cool. I do, Kevin. I try so hard. I try hard, guys. Why are films getting delayed again? I know cases are rising both in the US and the UK, but people are still going cinema over here. Because so to break it down for you in ways that somebody who is not American can understand, I have had problems with how this country has treated COVID from day one. Because all I have seen are people who were not wearing masks, who were not, keeping their asses at home, who were not social distancing. They were living their best lives, getting COVID, spreading it to other people because it was their democratic right. And now I live in the South. And in the South, you would think that after all of this time, and the South didn't win the war, that we would have been a little bit more progressive. No, actually, we have reverted. Where I live in Tennessee is like the seventh ring of hell sometimes. And what I mean by that is the laws here make zero sense. They have done away with vaccines for children in general under 12. So you can't even get vaccinated. We have recommended masks, but right now down the street from my house, there is a festival coming that has over 1,200 people and masks are not mandatory. You don't have to social distance. And this is how the stuff is spreading. So the reason that we have issues, the theaters are open, but we keep getting infected because we got to make that money. This country puts profit over our lives in general as a whole. I see this all the time in the healthcare system. I work very closely with the healthcare system. And so I know what happens, but I feel like the way COVID was handled, we didn't have a plan for this. We didn't have anything set in place to help us with this type of pandemic. And now whenever I see people either who are anti-vaxxers or ones that are even screaming at people for not getting the vaccine, I get in my feelings because I keep thinking about patient zero in this country and the fact that if people had stayed their asses at home, we would have never gotten to this point. But that's what it is. So that's why things are getting delayed, because people are getting sick. It's just what it is. The actress who's going to play Poison Ivy was in Beauty and the Beast and Jane the Virgin. Who was she in Jane the Virgin? I don't remember her. How was the project, the voice acting? Do you guys get residuals? On this one, it's a flat rate. On others, it just depends on what it is. I wish I could talk about it because, I can't. Whenever you sign NDA, you can't talk about it. So until they release info, you cannot release info. So it is what it is. And my project, I had to cast with me 14 voice actors. This is not premiering until next year, but we are going to start recording at the end of October. And the character designs on this are effing amazing. So throwing it out there. It's going to be cool. You guys will be seeing later this year, you'll be seeing more of what I'm talking about. But I will pop a link down below, but I'm going to put it in the comment section because there's nothing there yet of the YouTube channel that is reserved for it. And there's also going to be a Twitter channel that is reserved for this project too. So just throwing it out there. I doubt Ryan will be in the first half much because Javisa Leslie is in the Flash crossover. That's going to be funny as hell. I'm sorry. I'm loving this. I love when Barry... did Barry and any of the other people in the universe even realize that Kate Kane was missing or presumed dead? I don't trust these Batwoman writers with season 3. I don't either. I had hope with season 2. I did. I did not mind having Ryan Wilder come in as Batwoman. It just, you guys, you already know I'm a broken down record. I've said it so many times. You want to know how I feel about it? Go back and watch that season finale, and my review on that, and you will know exactly how I feel about it. The cinema is pretty much closed globally outside of the U.S. I really think that the cinema should be closed because there's no way you can social distance in the damn theater. You cannot do it. You are literally elbow to elbow. There's always somebody putting their nasty feet on the back of your chair or somebody kicking you. There's always those people that like to fight you over the middle seats. It's like really, it's just weird. I prefer the drive-in. The only irritation that I have with the drive-in is when somebody comes with a big truck, which is normally from the other side of the pond from Mississippi, and you have a tiny little car and this big truck is right there in front of you and they're blocking the screen. And maybe you've been there waiting for the movie for like 20 or 30 minutes or even an hour, and they just come in 5 minutes and just jump right in front of you. And then you have to go find another space. That shit pisses me off. But outside of that, it is awesome because you basically pay one rate and you see 2 movies. So you're getting 2 movies for one pay. Like I think here is $20 a carload and you get 2 movies. And if you want to go to the concession stand, you can. Not mandatory. I bring my own stuff because it's a drive-in. You can bring whatever the hell you want. I bring Korean food to the damn drive-in. Who's going to get in my car and stop me? You can try. I'm not unlocking the door. So here's the thing. Sorry about my comment before you started talking about Supergirl. That's fine. They're open in the UK. They're open in Japan. I know that. No, it's going to be a Sister Witch. News came out. So yeah, it's probably going to be either Ray or Dexter's child with another witch. The new showrunners are breaking with Legacy and giving Marisol character a rest. Well, that's good. At least they're not making her a hoe. I'm happy. And it's still a toss-up. And whether Harry and Jordan are both white lighters in another toss-up, they may be something else altogether. Those new showrunners have their work cut out for them. I'm just saying. And don't worry, we are going to do a theory video for Charm season 4. I was waiting on Eloy, but he has some things happening or going on in his life, and I might just end up having to do it on my own. I'm just trying to see if there's a time for him to get with me so we can just do our theory video. Because I really want to do one before the show starts. I want to cap out what I think is going to happen, what should happen based on what's, out there, the news that's out there. But I'm definitely going to do a season 4. And I need to do it before Yashahime comes out. I'm a bit off topic, but have you seen the interview with America Chavez actress? She's so hyped. I have not, but I am going to watch it. I actually am not like a hater of America Chavez, like a lot of people are. So many people don't like that character. They just don't like her. Again, I still wish they had cast her older, not because I don't think this actress can pull it off. And again, I don't know exactly when in the timeline we're meeting this version of America. This could be, if they go to the utopian parallel, then absolutely this could be child America Chavez. And that's fine with me. Or a version of her where she first branches out from the utopian parallel because she wants to be a hero like her mom's. And she just goes traveling and kicking through all these, different multiverses, saving the day. So I have no problem with that. It's just that when you cast Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop, and we all know her BFF is America Chavez, I don't see how this young girl and Haley are going to have the banter that they have in the comics. Because I absolutely love, like, if you watch West Coast Avengers, just watch how they talk to each other. We can't have that with these two because there is a significant age difference. So that is my only problem with that. But again, I don't want to hate on somebody getting a job. That's awesome. So yeah, I think I'll check it out and see what she says. The new Sister Witch personality scribe sounds strikingly like Paige. So that's what I want to see. No news yet on if she will be a Latino character. Gotcha. You're right. They did reopen with new guidelines in May. Yep. I swear, I don't even know if they have guidelines here. Like, I think when they first opened, you had to wear a mask, but now I can walk out of this building and I will see no one with a mask on. No one, not at the grocery store, which is why I don't go in there. Not at the pharmacy. They make you do it at the doctor's office, but the moment you do your check-in, I see people take it off and sit in the waiting room. And the nurses are tired, and the check-in people are tired. They're not going to get up and keep saying, put on your mask, put on your mask. So yeah, they act like COVID is over, but they've been acting that way since day one. So Doesn't shock me. Mixie will come back in the episode. Mixie in the middle. I would watch that. I would absolutely watch this. So is this current dreamer one of the most powerful incarnations of the character due to brainy intervention? Because future dreamer in the Legion is like the most powerful. Yeah, the future version of her is, and remember her sister, I still cannot remember the name of her. I need to look it up. Her sister becomes like a sorceress. Like she has magic. Like, so think of her like Ilyana, how Ilyana went, to limbo. It's almost the same. It's almost the same thing. When she didn't get the powers inherited from her mother in the comics, she went off and studied, magic. And I really wonder if they're going to bring her sister back, because we haven't seen her sister since they had that big falling out and Nia ended up getting the powers and she didn't. And I remember her saying, "But you're not a real girl." It was so messed up. Yeah, it'd be cool. It was a big car episode, Labs episode, and Kelly this episode. Who will be next week? Maybe they'll bring James back so he can train his sister. That'd be cool. Barry Allen's listening skills are so bad that even as a kid, he couldn't listen to his dad tell him not to go back in the house. Yeah. That's because Barry's daughter should be Courtney. They just drive each other crazy. Isn't public knowledge that Nia has narcolepsy? She couldn't Andrea get a meeting with legal for the encounter? She does have a medical condition. I don't know if they told Andrea. That's the thing about the Arrowverse. We know this. We know that she's saying she has, that she says she has narcolepsy. But do we know that with Andrea as the person in charge? Because when Lena was in charge, yeah, that was something that everybody just accepted. What bothers me about continuity with Arrowverse writing is that they act like we should just know this. The characters should just know this. And that's not how it works, because nobody's having this conversation. And then we have a scene where Andrea is like, "Are you really effing sleeping in this meeting?" And people are like, "Oh, no." And she's like, "Go take a personal day or mental health day." Yeah, maybe nobody told her. I mean, I literally don't think anyone told Andrea anything, to be honest with you. Lena is in the next episode and Mixie is in either next episode or one after. Okay. I need Lena back. I feel like Nia using these offensive side uses of her power is at the sacrifice of her main power, which is the psychic dreaming. She's terrible at it. I love talking about powers. One of my characters that I created has an amazing ability, which has been used before. But when I think about it, I think if I had to have a power and I couldn't be teleport, because I've always wanted teleportation, I think I would have this ability. And it's basically the ability of unnoticeability. I'm not invisible, but I have literally made it so you made the physical choice to not realize I was right here. So I can just walk in and do whatever I want in front of you, and your mind constantly is making the choice not to see it. That is an effing cool power. I'm just throwing that out there. Throwing it out there. Favorite Felicity smoke moment? When she went with Oliver into the afterlife. People always criticize CW shows, but no one ever criticizes Supernatural. What is it about that show that makes it immune to the same criticism as the other shows? And it had 15 seasons. Shouldn't people think that show is awful by now? So I'm gonna be real with you, Madness. I've watched season 1 of Supernatural. This is a question you need to ask Groove and Jam, because they are Supernatural lovers. I have no skin in that game. I like season 1. I think I saw like parts of other seasons, but not full. I remember a commercial that they were stuck in, or a soap opera, but I can't answer that, because you should by now know me as a reviewer that I would find something to nitpick in that show. Avengers Endgame fan 1319, when she nuked a town. I want to nuke a town. I can't wait for Lex to come back. I mean, he's going to have to. We're counting down the wire here. I'm going to see Shang-Chi tomorrow as well. Cool. So we will have lots to discuss about Shang-Chi tomorrow. Again, as a mixed person who basically in my DNA, my major DNA, you already know you guys know about the Black, the Native American, and the Scottish, but I also have Bengali. I have like 6% Asian, like Chinese and a bunch of other stuff. But my little Chinese, my Asian is very small. And I am still offended for all of Eurasians that they erased his white mama. Now, I'm saying that. I don't know yet. We may get a flashback of this European woman that gave birth to him. But it's like, I always want to ask this question. Why do people get so in their feelings when they cast a mixed person like that Harry Golden guy in Crazy Rich Asians, which I've said this in our mixed erasure stuff. They're like upset. He's not even fully Chinese, but yet you get a Chinese and European character who's been mixed for decades. And you're like, yeah, but he can be full Chinese. They don't matter. Like, so I know I will be in my feelings about that tomorrow, because at the end of the day, by people saying that, you're saying that we don't matter and that we aren't real. Like, we shouldn't be here. And that's all I can see. So like, I had to throw that in there because I'm throwing some shade a little bit at the whole casting, because Kevin Feige was defending everything but that, because again, when mixed people say they don't have representation, we're usually seen as entitled and stuck up and whiny. And I'm like, no, it's just that we're real. We exist. Like, we're real people. Have you watched The Gifted with Polaris? Yes, I've seen the first season. Super Friends. I love that TV show on Cartoon Network. I mean, they call them Super Friends in the comics. Jade got her powers, is looking for her brother, as well she should. Sitting is cool. Plus Jade, too expensive to have on the show. It will eat up the budget. That's true. For every time she uses that ring, they can't have a snack table or craft services. I'm like, well, nobody's eating today. Plus, also, I will say I have to give Brett Bassinger, I have to give her some props, because and I knew this going in, but I got really thinking about it. As somebody who has a medical condition that makes life hard sometimes, I have to think about this young girl I think she's in her early 20s, who is full diabetic. So Stargirl's actress is diabetic. So, and she has gluten issues like me. So this woman can't have gluten and she's diabetic, which makes you feel a lot of different ways, because at the end of the day, being diabetic is just as autoimmune as anything else. She still pulls off that role with energy. I mean, and you have to think about the fact that they're shooting 16, sometimes 18-hour days. So I have mad props for her, because I know that is a really tough situation to be in. So yeah. Ryan Wilder. What about Ryan Wilder? Maybe Obsidian will be the key to getting Dr. Midnight out of the Shadowlands. That would make sense. I'm like, I mean, they can do a Marvel DC crossover and bring Cloak and Dagger in. Sportsmaster and Tigers in the series are definitely beyond human in their capabilities, especially against powered teenagers. I love when Tigers leap down and like Sportsmaster was like, oh yeah, it was cool. Like, stuck that landing, honey. Mike is a legacy. He is. Who's Milton? Who are you talking about? In the comics? So why do Shirley, Supergirl would have saw Morgan Edge or Clark at the fortress? Huh. But so I'm beginning to think the fortress is not the same fortress as in Superman and Lois. Because I know they're on the same Earth, and I know we're establishing that they are cousins, and that's how they were in the comics, and blah blah blah. But like, it doesn't even look the same. I don't know if it's the same. I kind of feel like everybody got their own fortress in a crystal, because Morgan Edge had his own version in the desert. So I don't know. Who's Melton's best three-hour conversation ever? Stop jumping. Don't jump. I thought Cameron was going to be more in this season, but up to now, nope. I know. Maybe they're saving him for the bigger plot. It's just because Cindy seems to be hitting them one at a time. So maybe, she's working on, Isaac right now. Maybe next week. Well, technically in Artemis, maybe next week we'll get Cameron. I mean, he obviously is in the show. They wouldn't fly him all the way out there to film if he's only going to be in one episode. Artemis is in the foster system, which is sad. Favorite season of Supergirl? Season 1, when it was on CBS. Supergirl season 3. I don't get that. There are no restrictions in the UK now, no social distancing, but the cases aren't rapidly rising. Well, ask yourself this. When they were bad, did your government get ahead and make people wear masks and make it mandatory and not let them in places and not let them do things and travel if they, during COVID, and if they like has showed signs, not even signs, I mean, just shut things down? That may be why, because that's not something that happened here in the States. So, like I said, we were not prepared. And the entire time we'd sit at home, we kept having people say, we have to get back to work. Our economy, we're going to go broke. We're going to die. We're going to lose money. I'm like, yeah, we're going to lose our lives. We actually had someone come out and say, hey, if you're elderly and you're working, I mean, it may just be your time, but we have to get this economy off the ground. And that's literally the mindset here. So I think that is definitely the difference. I feel like they aren't done with Supergirl because she's going to be at fandoms. Why would a show that's ending have a big presence at fandoms? Maybe that's why Melissa's company signed a contract with WB. Well, I mean, she could be going to fandoms because she's producing. Producers go there all the time. So, but no, her show should be ending. She's not having, I mean, they've already said that this is the last season. So I won't hold my breath on season 7. Maybe we should get some movie or something. No, I think she's going to be directing or producing different things. Korean food in a movie, that sounds amazing. It is. It absolutely is. One of the first things I learned when I married my Korean, actually before I married my Korean American spouse, was how to make kimchi and japchae and a bunch of other very traditional Korean meals. But when you want to eat anything on the go, my spouse makes kimbap. Kimbap is like literally Korean sushi. It is amazing. It tastes amazing. River excels at making it. So there you go. Maria, have you had your vaccine? No. It's because I can't right now. And it's for a medical reason. I'm not cleared to have it until I get something in my blood a certain level. I can't get an injection for it. I am one of the high risk people. And it scares the hell out of me every day. It's why I primarily live in my house. I only go out for doctor appointments and ever so often to the drive-in. I don't go in stores. I don't go anywhere. Like even we celebrate every holiday, anniversaries, birthdays, everything in the house. And we have since last year. My daughter's birthday is on the 14th of this month, and we will be celebrating here and probably with her friends on Zoom. That's what it is. And until I can do it, I'm kind of stuck. So yeah, I'm terrified of just contracting it by, a mailman putting something in the box or whatever. I mean, because you never know. You never know. Do you like Melissa's Benoist performances, Cara? Yes. I have no problem. Because she plays the caring Clark version of Cara. She pretty much is the female Clark. Yeah, in the comics, we had an edgier one sometimes. I mean, we've seen a lot of different variations of Supergirl. And I don't normally have a problem with any one of them. The only one that creeped me out is when she had a relationship with Lex Luthor in the comics. That bothered me a little bit, but it's a thing. Who else is going through a hashtag for Moyland Fort Salem? Yeah, season 3 is the last season. A lot of people are in their feelings. I mean, that's what I worried about. We're Freeform. They did it to Shadowhunters, so it's that kind of like what they do. I really like the character in Supergirl season 4 when she used a lie detector thing to find out Supergirl's identity. What was her name? Oh, crap. I'll have to come back to you on that. I do remember that. That's cool. You write fiction too, Maria. Are you thinking about publishing your work? Yeah, because this is actually going to be a webcomic, a motion webcomic that I'm getting. Like I said, I will explain all of this. I promise. I'm going to put the link down for the YouTube channel. So if you guys would like to subscribe early, again, we're not going to have the first episode / issue out until 2022, but get ahead of yourself. Subscribe first. You're going to get a lot more content or information on that. But yeah, I've been writing for years. So 4 years. Supernatural is awesome. I really have not had a chance to see it outside of season 1, but it's probably because I work so much. So there's some shows I just got behind on, unfortunately. But I do remember that Supernatural literally started, when it started, Smallville was still on. because Dean's actor was on Smallville, and then his brother was on Gilmore Girls. Yeah, I think that's what it was. And I remember Dean was with Lana at one point in Smallville, and then he left, and then he was basically, he went straight to season 1 of Supernatural. So I always thought that was interesting. I always wondered what would happen if Tom Welling didn't want to leave and quit being Superman so much, if they would have had 15 seasons of Smallville. That would have been interesting. That I think the Arrowverse would have been a lot different if Smallville had still been running, and then we got Arrow and all these other shows. Because then I guess it wouldn't be Arrowverse, it would be Smallvilleverse. that would have been interesting. What if Smallville did not end until season 15? What would that universe look like? Would have been badass, I think. It would have been badass. Hello, Maria has medical issues that make her high risk to have it. Yeah, it's a thing. It is a thing. I didn't even understand it until it was explained to me by my doctor. But basically, if I got the vaccine right now, it would not work for me. I wouldn't have a level of protection because of my blood cells, my blood cell count, my red blood cells. So I'm trying. I am trying, guys. I am trying. So I have time for one more question, and then I got a jet because I got an interview with a voice actor. So let's see. Make sure. Smallville season did seem pissed most of the time, but I still liked her. Yeah, her Supergirl was awesome. I liked her Supergirl. Like she was cool, and she even took on that. What was it? Linda Lee, I think was the name of the persona that she used to pretend to be. Linda Lee, which they didn't do in this one. They actually used Cara Danvers. But I thought that whole thing with Linda was cool, and her putting on the black wig and the glasses, such an homage to Helen Hunt's Supergirl movie. But then again, to be fair, they got Dean Cain from Lois and Clark Superman to be the dad, Alex's dad, and then Helen Hunt is their mom, who was Supergirl. So and Helen Hunt, I'm pretty sure, was Laura in Smallville, and then Erica Durant, who played Lois Lane in Smallville, took over the role as Kara's mother. So they all in the same universe. It's kind of cool. It is actually really cool. But all right, guys, I gotta go. I am interviewing. I put on here Danielle, McRae. She is a voice actress who's done a lot of stuff, including Skullgirls, and League of Legends. So be on the lookout for that interview, and it should be starting in 8 minutes. So I gotta jump in Zoom. But I will be back, guys, because, again, I'm trying to reschedule What If. I may be doing my L Word Generation Q video tonight at midnight. We're going to see if I can pull that off because I have so much to do tomorrow. And then Saturday, we have our What If video, and we're going to have the Zatanna versus Scarlet Witch. So make sure to be on the lookout. And I will put a link to the YouTube video in a sec. I just got to prop my Zoom and stuff up and get ready for this interview. But I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. If you have any questions, concerns, theories on what's going to happen with the rest of any of these shows seasons, put it below. And I will see you next time. And have a very good day if it is day for you, and a very good night if it is night for you. Bye, guys.